Hey guys, what's up? Are you 1 or 0 here? In this video, we will solve 3 OSCP-similar HacktheBox machines in less than 20 minutes. If you're ready, let's jump in.
Welcome to your AFSEC certification. Penetration. Test. Better than the rest.
So the first box will be FriendZone. It's a Linux machine, an easy one, and will take approximately 8 minutes to finish. As always, we started with Nmap Scan. So as you can see, we found SMB port open. So I want to enumerate on SMB port with SMB map tool. It's a very easy syntax. As you can see, we found the shares and we can read the permissions for each share after the output of this comment. So I want to connect to one of the shares. I will go with the general one, and I will be using the tool SMB client. It's probably the most common one that you can use. And as you can see, we get a file called creds.txt. I am getting the file with the command get creds.txt. I'm exiting SMB client so that I can read the file content in this way. As you can see, we found some credentials here with the password information. I want to find an area that I can use it. There's an HTTP page here. 80 and 443 ports are open, but I'm also seeing that DNS port is open. So I'm thinking maybe I can do DNS Zone Transfer to find all the subdomains that we can find. As you can see, common name is written here as FriendZone.red. So I'm thinking I can do DNS zone transfer in this way. I'm going to use the tool dig and using AXFR option. I'm reading the domain name that I saw from the Nmap output, and I'm writing the IP address by adding an add character in front of it. As you can see, we found many subdomains here. The next step is adding all these in etc hosts file so that we can directly go to these subdomains without writing the IP address. So if you're not familiar how to write it to etc host files, it's super easy. You're just writing IP address and writing all the subdomains by separating them with a space character. So as you can see, there's an administrator subdomain. I'm generally going with this one first because there's generally something juicy happening in the administrator subdomain. But who knows, maybe we will solve the box by using any of these other subdomains. Okay, there are so many of them. We say the etc host file, and I will go to administrator.friendzone.red on my browser now. If I can type. And if you remember, there were 80 and 443 ports open. So if you cannot find any information on the port 80, you should probably also try on HTTPS port. So let's see what is expecting us. That's a login form. That's very lovely because we have some credentials from SMB enumeration. I am just using these in the login page to see if they're working here as the user admin. And I go there, perfect, we logged in, and there's a message saying login done, visit dashboard.php. Cool, I'm gonna just duplicate the tab, and I will use the same cookie value that's already been used in the first tab, which gives us some more information here. It says image name parameter is missed. That means I can just use this file, and this parameter does specify their image ID to go to some files. But what do you think of it when you see some file being called in a parameter? You should probably check for LFI. That's what we will do. First of all, I'm creating this file here. As you can see, it has a really simple bash script. I'm writing it in a PHP code to get a one-liner PHP reverse shell. Okay, I'm saving this file. I will be using this later. As we know, we can actually write on this SMB share development, which was given to us at the end of SMB map comment. So I'm thinking that maybe I can write the file that I just created, simple PHP script that will give us a reverse shell. And I'm using the tool curl to upload this file. And I'm thinking that maybe I can save the file name in a common name, such as php info.php, so that I can call this file later in the parameter that we saw in the HTTPS page. So I'm going back to the HTTP page and I'm just calling the file by using etc development php And as you can see, we called the file. The next thing I will do is I will be listening on a port because it also includes a bash script, which will give me a reverse shell, and voila, we got a shell as data. Cool. So the next step will be doing privilege escalation. I'm checking out if I can find any information in my current working directory, which gives us a configuration file with another username and password. That was easy. So if you have these, what you can do, we know that SSH port is open, so I can just use this username and password to see if it's actually working with SSH. When I try it, we will see that it's actually working. Cool. So we actually escalated our privileges from www.data to friend user. So the next thing I will do is I'd like to check for processes to do some process snooping. So this is a really cool tool. Instead of using a basic process escalation script, I will just be using this one. Okay, I am just cloning from the GitHub page. This is just really easy to use one. You can check it out yourself while solving the bugs. I don't know why I'm saving all these kind of files in temp directory, because whenever you reset your computer, these files are deleted. I mean, we don't need to hold all these files. So, all right, I'm just saving that file in my temp directory, and I'm firing simple HTTP server to send the file there. And the victim box, I'm also going to temp directory because probably my user already has the right permissions here. I'm getting the file with simple HTTP server from my current working directory on port 8000. The file comment to see which kind of file is it. It says LSP executable, cool, 32-bit. I'm changing the permissions with change mode plus X. I don't know where this minus plus A came from. I just did a typo. Cool. I am running this file, which will give us all kind of processes, and I am looking for something that I can use to be the root user. All right, let's scroll down. Yeah, when I scroll down enough, I am seeing that there's this file reporter.py, which is running as root. I'm going to this directory. I'm checking if I have right privileges. I don't with my current user. I'm checking out the file content, but there is nothing useful here. Basically, the script is doing nothing. But I'm seeing that it included the Python library OS, and there is a method which we will be using in this box, but which is basically poisoning the library. So I'm just going to the main directory for all the Python libraries, which is under user lib Python 2.7. And you can just find os.py here. I'd like to check if I can actually write something on this file so that I can poison the file to get a reverse shell, because OS library is being used in the script, which is running as root. And as you can see, we actually have write privileges. So the next thing I'm doing is I am just attaching the following line to the os.py file so that I wouldn't break the file. The file is still working, but at the end of it, it will give us a reverse shell. So I'm just listening on port 4444. And when the script is automatically being run, the library OS will be called and we will be getting the reverse shell. And we just got it. We are root. Cool. An interesting box. So the next one will be Valentine. This is another cool box that you can use some SSL vulnerabilities. I started with an Nmap Scan. As you can see, SSH and HTTP ports are open. So I am trying to find something useful on HTTP ports. I just went to the port on my browser. As you can see, there is nothing in the page source. I'm thinking I should probably run Debuster, GoBuster, whatever tool you're using for directory brute forcing. I am generally using, for the sake of simplicity, as Debuster. I will be running the file as the word list, user share word list, Debuster, and the medium list. I'm not sure about the full name of it. You don't need to memorize. You can just go there, Debuster, medium.txt, cool. I'm starting the directory brute forcing, and we will find these files, which will help us to gather some more information. As you can see, there's a file called hype.key, and there is a notes file. Bunch of information. It's probably there's a vulnerability because the developer is warning us about it. So there's this another file called decode. It's a decoder, and there's also some links here. When we go there, it also says it's a secure data encoder. So apparently there is some decoding, encoding stuff happening. Since I already found this hype key file, I just want to decode it. And as you can see, it's actually a RSA private key file. And we can actually use this later when we log in. When we log in with SSH by using the private key of the user. Cool, we got this information. So I looked around, I tried to find another file that I can use for this HTTP port, but actually I couldn't find anything. So I thought that maybe there was actually a vulnerability in the SSL certificate or in the SSL communication. So I actually checked with Nmap for the vulnerability, if there's any vulnerability exists. If you're not familiar with how to use Nmap for vulnerability scanning, you can just use this option -t4 and -- script for all the vulnerabilities. And I specify the port number as ADN443. As you can see, it says that this is vulnerable to SSL heartbleed vulnerability. Cool. So we will be using this one. I just searched on Kali if there is a exploit here available. It's super easy to check. You're checking with search exploit and writing the keyword that you're looking for to exploit the vulnerability. If you don't know how to reach out here, it's very easy. You can just say locate and write the file name, and it will give you the full path. Cool. And it's a Python code that I will be just running with the IP address next to it. And it gives us a bunch of information here. If you look at the output, there will be a base64 encoded value that's given us in the output. We will just be decoding it, which will be a password later, as you can, which is cool. It gives us some meaningful information. I'm assuming that this is a password, which I will be using in a second. I knew that SSH port was open, so I already get a private key. And we can just use these information to log into the server. Actually decrypt the file that we saw after the directory brute forcing, which is called hype key with OpenSSL tool. There's another option. If you don't want to do it like that, you can actually use a decoder that the developer just added there. It's super easy solution to use, but I will just use the tool OpenSSL. It's a RSA private key, so I'm writing the option RSA using -in option to write the file to decode, which is hype key, and I'm saying -out and the file name that I want to use for the decoded file. When I do that, I will just change mode to 400 for this decoded file to use in the SSH login process. I will be changing it now, change mode 400, hype key dic for decrypted file. And I will be using the SSH -i option for the private key file, decrypted private key file, and username at IP address. We will be writing the password that we already found. And this will give us the low privilege shell. Cool. I will be going to this file, bash history, and we will just see the comment that we can use of a tmux as root. When I run the file, when I run the comment, I just got the user as root. Super easy. But yeah, that's the solution. Because it's super easy to exploit it without Metasploit, but people had trouble exploiting it manually. So we will just see it now. I started with an Nmap Scan. As you can see, there is an HTTP port open. All right, so we see the port AD open. Cool, there's a web page that we will be looking around now. And when I see the output, it says that webdev. So I'm thinking I can actually enumerate it with the following tool that's installed in Kali, dev test, which will basically tell us which kind of file extensions that you can use to upload on the HTTP server. So it's really easy to use the tool. You're just writing the command, writing the option minus URL and writing the URL for the vulnerable box. As you can see, it's trying to upload a bunch of file with different extensions, HTML, PHP, TXT, ASPX, etc. And it tells you if it's successfully uploaded or not. If it says succeed, you can actually just go to the file and it will give you a comment by saying this is a test file that's been uploaded by this tool. Let's do it now. As you can see, HTML put via dev test. Cool. So what I want to do is I want to basically upload a couple of files to get a reverse shell. The first thing I will do is netcat exe file. And the second one is, since this is a Windows box, I don't want to upload a PHP or ASPX file. I want to upload a file that I can actually run comments, which you can actually find in Cal Linux. Cool. So I'm uploading the file with curl with minus upload minus file option and writing the file name. But as you can see, I am getting an error. So it's apparently not allowing me to upload the files with this extension. So there is a super simple solution. We will be changing the extension from ASPX or exe to TXT. We will be uploading the file with TXT, which was allowed. And then there is an option with curl for us to change the extension of an uploaded file, which will basically turn the file into ASPX again. Super cool. So we're first uploading the ASPX file as TXT file. As you can see, it's uploaded. You can just see the output of it. So I will be moving the uploaded file to from TXT to ASPX. So you don't need to memorize these options, but it's really useful to know what is this. Let's look at it more closely. It says curl minus x move, which is basically the action that you want to take, and then minus header destination, which will be the following URL with the file name with the file extension ASPX, and the original file that's been uploaded before will be TXT. So as you can see, we didn't get any error message. And the next thing I want to do is I want to change the extension of the uploaded file to see if it actually works. As you can see, there's a comment area, input area that I can run my comment, write my comment, run it. When I say there, it gives me directory listing output. So I'm asking for who am I? It says enter the network. So cool. Apparently I will do privilege escalation after I get a shell. So the next thing I will do is, since I want to get a reverse shell, I can actually use netcat exe with cmd exe, and I can upload the netcat exe file in the same way I uploaded the ASPX file. First, I am copying netcat exe file as netcat.txt. Then I'm uploading the netcat.txt file. Cool, we moved the file. I can just check for it if it's actually uploaded there under C init pop root directory. As you can see, netcat.exe is here. cmd.asp.aspx file is also here. So next thing I will do is I will be using cmd exe and netcat exe to get a reverse shell. I'm listening on port 1234. It's a default port that people generally use to get a reverse shell. I'm binding cmd exe with netcat exe. To get a rush on my IP address, I'm going to do exact same directory that we uploaded netcat exe. And when I'm listening on the port, I get a shell as network service. Cool. All right. As you can see, I went to my temp directory, which means I will download some files or create some files, temporary files. So the thing I will do is I need to use Windows exploit suggester, because in this box, you can just use a kernel exploit, because this is a 2003 box. And there is Churrasco exe file that you can use for the operating system. I think it's 64 bits. and then you can actually get a anti-authority system root shell very quickly. So the method that you can use here is you need to check with system info, and we will get the output of system info comment from Windows box to use on this Python script Windows exploit suggester. You can just use it on your own box. You don't need to upload any files on the Windows victim machine. And the first thing that you need to do is you need to update the database for this Windows exploit suggester file super quick, and we will be using this database and the system info file that we got from the victim machines. And the one that I'm going to use is token kidnapping local privilege escalation. If you don't want to use system info comment or Windows privilege escalation suggester, you can also use the following comment with whoami//priv, which will give you the privilege information, and it includes say impersonate privilege token enabled. So it also gives us the information that you can actually use impersonation attacks here. Cool. So the next thing I will do is, I am just like dividing my page a bit to use many different options. So I will be using in-packet SMB server on my Kali box to send some files using SMB to the victim machine. And I will get the file with the following comment with copy / IP address / folder name, which is Kali, and the file name. After we get that, we need to run trusco.exe file. Whether you can get a reverse shell like this, I was supposed to do that. As you can see, I'm listening on port 555, but the low privilege shell was super unstable. So the thing I did was just running cmd exe file to get a shell as due to the system. Like I mentioned, the shell is super unstable. That's why I'm doing the same process again. I'm copying trusco.exe file with the following comment that I mentioned already. Copy / IP address / folder name / trusco.exe, and I will be running this trusco.exe file if my shell is still here with -d option and the comment in quotation marks. As you can see, it doesn't work when you just write cmd exe. But when you use it with the quotation marks, it will give us a shell as anti-authority system. It will just ask us who am I, which will give us the answer anti-authority system now. So as you can see, guys, it was very easy. All of these boxes are very similar to OSCP machines that you can see in the lab or in the exam. But these are including different methodologies comparing to the previous boxes that we used in the previous videos. Hope you enjoyed this video and learn new techniques. Stay tuned for more content. Cheers!
This one dedicated to all those who complete the Nmap Scan certification, the ones who not fault and not waver. No one to try hard or get braver. You must not fail, you must not nigga the bus. Try harder, you must.